All right, this is Unit 3, Module 2, Session 5, How Many Candy Bars? Again, you're going to help Mrs. Wiggins, which is the teacher, with Kit Kat treats today. This is a make-believe teacher problem, and you're going to add some fractions on an open number line with a partner or together in class. Okay, so we're going to tackle a problem that involves adding fractions today. So remember the big thing, we want to get, if we're adding fractions, we want to make sure that the denominators are the same. Then we can add our numerators. And if we have an improper fraction, then the numerator is bigger than the denominator and we can get a whole out of it. Okay, so then we can regroup that and take some on. All right, this is called How Many Candy Bars? So Miss Wiggins is a 4th grade teacher, and she hosts a class picnic every year. She usually brings the desserts and has decided to give each kid 3/4 of a Kit Kat bar this year. I don't know why she'd want to do that instead of just giving everybody an individually wrapped one, but and that's what we do now with COVID. But this case, she wants to do 3/4, and that just makes nice fractions. Her students are checking with their parents to see if they can come. Meanwhile, since she isn't sure how many students are coming, Miss Wiggins wants to figure out the different amounts of candy bars she might have to buy when the students do come out. So this might be a good thing to be making, like some kind of chart. She needs your help. So we're going to figure out how could she do this with Kit Kat bars and 3/4. So let's look at this first. How many would 2 Kit Kat bars be? Now, the nice thing about Kit Kat bars is that, and that's probably why they chose this one, is that Kit Kat bars are already into fourths. So if you look at this Kit Kat bar, here is the whole, and there's 4 pieces, so that goes in the denominator. Each kid is going to get 3 of those 4 pieces. Okay, so I get back to here. So how many would 2 kids get? Think about it for a second. All right, so you probably thought, like, hey, why don't we just divide those up and say, what does he get? He gets 1, 2, 3. Yum. And then she would get 1, 2, 3/4. And how many would that be? So now we have to add some fractions. So we're going to do 3/4 plus her 3/4 equals 6/4. But that's improper. We can write it like that, but we want to regroup some out of there. So the nice thing about this, here's our 6/4. Well, we could look at that and say, okay, here's the 6/4. When we add these together, we can because they're already in fourths. So we could put those back together and say that's like 1 2/4 candy bars, which equals 1 whole, which is right here, and 2/4. Or another way we could do 2/4 would be 1 1/2 candy bars. Again, this is pre-COVID, so it's like they were splitting them up, and I think they just came over this problem because Kit Kats can be divided into fourths very easily by just snapping them apart. All right, so 2 kids, 1 kid would get 3/4, 2 kids could get 1 1/2. Now if we did a number lines are great for this to add them up. So we could do something like this and say 1 student got 1 or 3/4 of a candy bar. That's a great way where we could start. Now with 2, though, we could sit there and say 2 would be right up to 1.5 if we kept adding up fourths. So we could have just gone and said, oh, look at this. This is one student right here. So we could have handed out those fourths. 1, 2, 3, that's 3/4. There's another 1, 2, 3. That's 6/4 or 1.5. And this would be keep going. I would look at this and, you could have done different ways of adding it. You could have said, hey, I'm going to get up to, it'd be another 1/4 here, plus the half, or another 2/4. Whatever way you figure out. But again, we could have looked at this just in the math sense and just in the number sense and know that we could have added these up because they have like denominators. They are in fourths. So that's 6/4. Okay, 3/4 plus another 3/4 is 6/4. But we'd get that whole out of there. Remember, right here is your whole. We have 1.5. Now, how about 3 students? How are we going to add another 3/4? So we're at 1 1/2 now. Okay, so now we're going to have to sit there and add another 3/4. Now, as it was written, it would have been 1 1/2 plus 3/4. We cannot add those together because the denominators are not the same. This is where we're going to want to go into saying 1 2/4. We're going to want to sit there and say, or we could have kept it at the 6/4. If we could have just said, oh, but that's the same as 6/4. So either way we could have done it, but 1 2/4 plus another 3/4 equals 1 5/4. Now 5/4 is improper again. We could have got 4/4 out of there, so that would have been, which equals 2 wholes and 1/4. Now when we want to show that on a number line, could have gone just like up like this, and oops, and see it. So definitely, we'll get that back there. Okay, and kind of get this out of the way. So again, if we were up to that, we got to go 2 1/4. Now I want you to think about Kit Kat bars for 4 students. Okay, so we were up to 2 1/4. 2 1/4 candy bars, and we need to add another 3/4. So we could have just said 2 whole, oops, I'm going to get that up a little bit. Come on, backwards. 2 wholes and 1/4 plus another 3/4. Now, we just, here again, we're going to want to add our fractions first. So 1/4 plus 3/4 is 4/4. That's the same as the whole. 1 whole plus 2 would be 3 candy bars. But let's model that by just looking at here. So if he has 1, 2, 3, right? 1, 2, 3. Hers is another 1, 2, 3. His is another 1, 2, 3. And then hers is another 1, 2, 3. We have 3 whole Kit Kat bars for 4 kids. 3. Okay, if we're doing that on a number line, again, we could have just added it like this instead, or we could have doubled it. This is what they were saying here. If you know that 2 kids was 1.5, 2 kids had 1.5. I'll model that again here. 1, 2, 3 for him. 1, 2, 3 for her. That's 1.5. So all we would have had to do is double that. So 1.5 plus 1.5. We can do this in the stack method here. So that's 1.5 plus 1/2 is 1 whole. and regroup it over here. And so that'd be three Kit Kat bars. Again, we would never do this nowadays, but all right. So what now we're going to do is work on your student book on page 108. These first couple are already done for you. Miss Wiggins is hosting our 2 students, 4 students. We said that was like 1.5, 3. Okay, so now what we're really going to do here is we're going to make a chart for her, just in case she has to figure out how many candy bars are come for the kids. So the bottom one is the number of students showing up, and the top one is how many candy bars she's going to need. And so I'm going to just get there. I think it's eraser here. So we already did 3/4 for this guy, or if 1. 2 would be 1.5. We had 3 was 2 1/4, and 4 was 3. Now looking at these, they kind of bolded this right here because they said if you know 4, how many would be 8? Oh, if we just double the amount of students, we just have to double the amount of candy bars. So 3 doubled would be 6. Okay, so, and again, looking down, if we had 8 and we had double the amount of kids, how many would come? Double 6, 12. And again, if you look at this, if 4 came and 8 came, that's 12. That's 12 right here, so that'd be 3 plus 6, which is 9. I would start getting these out of the way first, okay, because they give you good like landmarks to shoot for to make sure you're on pace, okay. So then on here, all you're going to have to do is add the 3/4 each time. So like 3 plus 3/4 would be 3 3/4. Now you can look at doubling tricks. That works. Adding things together, you could do that too. You could add like denominators together. So think about even if you were looking for 11, you could do 8 plus 3. So that would be 6 plus 2 1/4. Oh, that's 8 1/4. Like right here. So use these and try to figure it out. And I'm going to pause right now, and then afterwards I will show you the answers so you think you're on page. Now after that, there's a couple questions they want you to ask. How did you do your chart? And then what would you tell her? Probably to buy whole ones. And then you can work on page 109 in your book. All right, and then right after this, I will don't look at the answers now until you do the whole thing, and then you can correct it.